Good morning, everybody. Welcome to Good Morning Talk. So, I got a question last night, and I'm going to give you a little bit of background into the email and then the question as well. So, this individual sent me an email. It was like, I'm relatively happy in my life. I have a spouse, I've got kids, I've got this routine. There's things that I would like to have adjusted in my life. And the question was really, but I'm relatively happy, so why? I'm 100% correct. Look, there's no reason for us to change the life that we're already living. There's no reason whatsoever for us to move in and start creating a new life, all right? Or make any changes to the life that we have, even subtle. And what do I mean by subtle changes? Well, yesterday we talked about this idea of circumstances. And circumstances are really problems and issues in our life that we're not willing to acknowledge and accept that turn around and really start to define our life. Define our life in terms of, they become real. They're trapped in our story and our narrative, which is attached to our identity, our self-image, our separated self. And they become true. When circumstances become true, we're unable to change them. Circumstances can be in a relationship, family, situations, job, just different experiences. The more circumstances we have in our life that are controlling our actions or keeping us from having that conversation with that loved one, with that family member, having that conversation with our boss or a coworker, having those conversations in general with anybody. When we stop taking actions because of what we have in our own heads telling us our story and our narrative about a certain situation, that's what's blocking us from achieving happiness. See, when you go back to the beginning of this email, it's relatively happy. Beautiful. If relatively happy is what you want to create in your life, go for it. I'm not sitting here in any stretch of imagination telling anybody that they need to change their life. That's not what I'm here for. If you are struggling to find happiness or finding a relative sense of happiness, well, you might want to make some adjustments in your life. Doesn't mean you need to. Doesn't mean you should. Doesn't mean you could. The question is, what do you want? If you want to live the life that you're living, beautiful, go for it. If you want to make adjustments, but you're afraid, that's what I'm talking about. When there's a level of fear there, you don't want to have that conversation, you don't want to do that thing, that's when you need to step in and say, okay, is this circumstance worth keeping true in my life? Or would it be better if I made an adjustment here, if I had that conversation, if I took that action, and whatever it might be that's true in your own life? An example, I was talking to an individual the other day, and they have a rocky relationship with their child. Older individual having a rocky relationship with their child, adult child, and I'm like, okay, well, the way that you see your child and the way that you are talking about them, what do you believe is true about them? And they basically said that, they're afraid that their child is going to look negatively at all the actions that they take. So in other words, when they go in and take an action, they believe that they're being judged by their child when their child is there watching them. Okay, well, is that really true? Is that what their kid is doing? We don't know. But it's that story, it's that narrative, it's that definition that we place on what somebody else is doing. The last thing I know, or, the truth that I know in life really is, I'm not in anybody else's head. I don't know what another person is thinking. I don't know how another person is viewing a situation. And if I place a definition on that, more than likely, that definition doesn't match exactly what's happening in the other person's head. Not unless I've had quite a few conversations with them, mirrored some, conversations, really got to know that individual. I probably don't know what's going on in their head, and I don't know how things are going through, and I don't know what their motivation is. When we place a definition on somebody else, we're saying we know what their motivation is. We know what they're thinking. We know what their internal processes are doing, and what we came up with is the correct answer. And we hold that's true, and because we believe that it's true, or we think that it's true for us. But it doesn't necessarily mean it's true for the situation. That's an inauthenticity. If your truth doesn't match the truth of what's going on within them, that's an inauthenticity. It's not true, but we hold it as true. The more inauthenticities we hold, the farther we move away from what most people want to achieve in the first place, which is happiness. Happiness is created out of being authentic, having authentic relationships with ourselves, authentic relationships with other people, and we're authentic in our actions. Meaning what? Those actions, those relationships, those thoughts are aligned to whatever it is that we're defining or somebody else is defining. The definitions, the actions match. When they don't, that's inauthenticity. So it's not so much that individuals are living unhappy lives, might be anxious, having some other form of issue that needs to be changed or adjusted. It's when we, in our lives, are holding on to ideas about ourselves or other people, situations, circumstances, and we hold those ideas as true. And we're willing to adjust those because we are right in our views and our ideas, our stories and our narratives are correct. We don't look at what could be correct for that other individual, and we want to justify our own definitions. When we do that, we are holding an inauthenticity, and inauthenticity moves us away from happiness. So I challenge you. Where do you have inauthenticities in your life? Where are you being inauthentic with yourself, with your definitions, with your actions, and with those in your life? How many of those circumstances, those problems and issues that are being recreated, how many of those, if adjusted, would bring more happiness to your life? There's your question. Look into that. And if they're not bringing happiness into your life, are you willing to adjust them? Are you willing to move from that inauthenticity into something more authentic? Are you willing to adjust your circumstances in your life, where circumstances is a creation coming at you from the physical, material world, rather than you internally dictating what's happening? See, circumstances take the ability for you to create your environment the way you want to, and it says, okay, this is unchangeable because this is the way it is. And the way it is defined through your story and narrative. And your story and narrative is your identity. Your identity is your self-image. The self-image is a separated self. What we have been telling ourselves for years that's not true, but we hold as true. Sometimes it is true. But in most cases, our story and narrative, if we were just to have that conversation, use those words, explain that to another individual, we would find that it could be adjusted. And when we adjust our story and narrative, we can experience something new in our environment. But as long as our story and our narrative is in control, it's true, we are unable to change our actions and adjust our environment. adjust our experiences within our environment. And that leads us from happiness, because that's inauthentic. So I hope that answers your question. I know it was kind of a roundabout way of getting there, but this is a big topic. There's a lot of things attached to it. The point is, if you are happy living the life that you are living, why change it? Don't change something that's broke. But if you have areas in your life that are inauthentic and you're living through circumstance, take a look at that and see if that's something that you're willing to adjust. And if you made adjustments there, how could that impact your experiences in your environment? And how can those new experiences create a new situation in your life that brings more happiness, peace, and joy to you? Thank you, everyone. Thank you for so much for being here. I do. I truly, truly appreciate the attendance, the audience, the views. I truly appreciate it all. This whole channel is designed to help individuals create the life that they want to live, that may not have an individual are able to go to, ask questions, and really learn this content through that form of engagement. So supporting this channel through likes, through subscriptions, truly helps get that message out there. And I want to thank each and every one of you that are viewing these videos and are liking the videos themselves and subscribing to the channel. So thank you. I do truly appreciate that. If you have questions, reach out to me, Tony at thethresholdofcreation.com. Put a comment in the comment section of this video at the bottom. You know what I'm talking about. You know how to do it. All right? But ask your questions. Let me engage with you. Let me help any way I possibly can in supporting you and creating the life that you want to live, and move away from the circumstances that in a lot of ways are really the things that are impacting and controlling our life, and moving us away from becoming authentic, and where we're living that inauthenticity and we're not even really aware that we're doing it. So again, thank you everyone for being here. Really, truly appreciate you. I hope each and every one of you have an amazing, amazing day full of joy and finding authenticity in your life. Thank you everyone. See you this evening. Have a great day. Enjoy.